Harper Valley PTA by Tom T. Hall, who just passed away 3 weeks ago. This was his most popular song, and it's the original Calling Out the Karens. If you haven't heard it before, it sounds like this. I want to tell you all the story about a Harper Valley widowed wife who had a teenage daughter who attended Harper Valley Junior High. Stopped to play, and she said, "Mom, I got a note here from the Harper Valley PTA." You only need these 5 chords, and they're all 7th chords, which I think it just tickles me inside. All those 7th chords, I really enjoy that bluesy sound. I have strumming options for you. You heard me doing a little more elaborate strumming options, but by all means, I'm going to give you things that are much simpler. But if you want to do what I'm doing, I'll show you how that's done too. I have a history nerd section because I like history, and a tiny bit of theories. I'm not very good at theory, but you know I use it all the time. So little theory section as well. I have got a little special coming up. I want you to listen really closely to these strings. I just changed out to some Oasis strings, and it's as soon as I get that video done, I'm going to link it down below, my thoughts about these strings, and I'm going to play along, and I try to make my play-alongs fun with cool visuals. Let me know if you like that. Grab your ukulele, grab your favorite beverage, come with me, let's do some learning. 5 chords. G7, index finger on the E string 1st fret, and these 2 fingers go on either side on the 2nd fret on the C and A string. C7, I bet you've encountered C7 before, easy peasy. There's also a D7 in this, and because this is such a bluesy song, we are going to use the easy or Hawaiian D7 as it's sometimes called. It's not truly a D7 because there's no D in it, but it sounds good, so we're going to use it. But if you want to use the bar D7, by all means, be my guest. We also have an A7, so easy, you'll be able to do that no problem, and an E7. If you'd like a song with A and E7, I'll link up here and down below. Achy Breaky Heart. Billy Ray Cyrus's one-hit wonder. Well, now he's got a big hit with Old Town Road, so there you go. He's not a one-hit wonder anymore. Strumming options. Well, the Island Strum, or as people say, the down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, works just fine with this song. And if that is your comfort level, I want to help you on your ukulele journey, so that's just fine. It'll work dandy. I am going to put a little chuck because I want a little grit, you know, that to amplify that bluesy feel of all those 7th chords. So what is a chuck? If you're unfamiliar with a chuck, it's where you're adding a percussion sound. You're muting the strings with the palm of your hand, and then as you're strumming, they're muted, and so you're getting a scratch. So if you have not chucked before, you might want to try out this video first, and there's even a companion part to it. I really show you in detail with close-ups and different viewpoints of how to look at what's happening with the chuck. I remember when I learned the chuck, and it did not happen overnight. If it happens overnight for you, well, great, kudos. So I'm going to be doing an Island Strum with a chuck for the 2nd down. Up close and personal, I'm playing a G7. Let's do it together. 1, 2, ready, begin. Down, chuck, up, 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 down. So many songs that this works well with, like Wagon Wheel and other songs, just to, you know, kind of make it a little bit more gritty. I am adding an additional mute, down, up, chuck, and when I'm going up, I'm dragging my hand across my strings too, and it's not, it's muting the strings. It's not creating percussion sound. It's shortening the sounds by not allowing the strings to ring out. So I'm going down, up, chuck, up. Oops, I'm sorry. I realized I didn't say the right thing in front of the camera. The pattern that I do when I play this is down, chuck, up, down, up, not down, up, chuck, up. So ignore what I said just here. Take away that first up. The muting, yes, I do that, but I just follow the diagrams, follow what I do in the play along. Sorry about that, folks. And I'm keeping my hand like this on the strings. And sometimes I might just even catch it with a flick of my thumb up just to keep them muted so it's not a true bright ring like that. So it again kind of muddies up the sound a little, and good muddy, not bad muddy. My husband is hand holding the camera so you can see this. Down, up, chuck, up, down, up, chuck, up, down, up, chuck, up. See how I'm dragging my thumb? So down, up, chuck, up, down, up, chuck, up, down, up. So those ups are just kind of like that. So good luck with it. If you notice all the elevation changes, how my hand has to trade off how high and low it is to the fretboard. Down, up, chuck, up, down, up, chuck, up, down, up, chuck, up, down, up. These don't happen overnight, but they are really fun to get them incorporated. I'm doing 2 up mutes, and so kind of like that. Let's do it together. 1, 2, ready, begin. Down, chuck, up, down, chuck, up, down, chuck, up, down, chuck, Well, music likes to be just as regular as rain in so many instances, and this instant is exactly like that. What do I mean? Well, each of these verses, and there's no chorus in this song, it's all verses, each of them are 4 lines long, and each of them, when you're doing the island strum, contains 4 island strums to get you through the line. So I use box diagrams to help my students understand that. And so here is the box diagram, and this works for the first 3 verses. Let's just practice this together. Let's do the island strum plain and simple together, just following along. 1, 2, and here we go. G7 again. It's the 3rd time, the 4th time. So this means that when you're going to stop singing and you're still playing the accompaniment. So let's look at that last line particularly, because that happens for sure on that last line. It says, Mama got it from the Harper Valley PTA. And you have another G7 to end it out. Well, this song does the same thing and we'll talk about this, it then changes to A7, D7, and an E7, and it just does the exact same pattern. Is your ukulele in tune? Let's do it. 1, 2, here we go. A7. be noticing that in the play along, where particularly at the end of phrases, you haven't done all 4 of those patterns, so you gotta keep going. So this is really great training for you, getting your ear all trained up. Tom T. Hall, Kentucky-born Nashville songwriting and storytelling legend, brings about in Harper Valley PTA a song about hypocrisy, but then also the changing attitudes towards women during this time. Miniskirts? I remember my first miniskirt encounter when I was in elementary school. I had a student teacher, Miss Thies. I remember her. She wore a miniskirt to school. It's like, shocking. I remember my mother, who was also a teacher, hence, this. I talk like this naturally. This is how I am in real life. I talk like a teacher. My mother had to write a letter to her principal, and it went to the school board, I do believe, or maybe the superintendent of the school, asking permission to wear a pantsuit to work as a teacher. So the whole fashion and women's roles were changing dramatically in the late 1960s, early 70s. And so he captured that really well in this song. This was a hit song. It was #1 on the Billboard charts for a while, and I think it came in like number 12 for the whole year. And it was a hit not only in the United States, but it was also a hit in Australia and Canada. It was not so big a hit in the UK, but it did make it onto the charts. So rest in peace, Tom T. Hall. I hope you're singing and making people happy. I also wanted to throw in a little bit of theory. The song originally and in the version that I'm doing here does what's called modulation. And that is a highfalutin term for key change. So it switches from being basically in the key of G and then rises up a whole step to the key of A. And this is a popular songwriting device just to, not make it boring, right? And something that I'm always talking about in my tutorials, do something to add some flavor. So modulation, adding flavor. If you've enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful on your ukulele journey, I sure hope that you consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel and hitting the notification bell, because all those things help my channel to grow. So please and thank you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to tell you all the story about a Harper Valley widowed wife who had a teenage daughter who attended Harper Valley Junior High. Well, her daughter came home one afternoon and didn't even stop to play. And she said, "Mom, I got a note here from the Harper Valley PTA." Well, the note said, "Mrs. Johnson, you're wearing your dress is way too high. It's been reported you've been drinking and are running around with men and going wild. Now we don't believe you ought to be bringing up your little girl this way." And it was signed the Secretary of Harper Valley PTA. Well, it happened that the PTA was going to meet that very afternoon. And they were sure surprised when Mrs. Johnson wore her mini skirt into the room. And as she walked up to the blackboard, I can still recall the words she had to say. She said, "I'd like to address this meeting of the Harper Valley PTA. Now there's Bobby Taylor sitting there, and 7 times he's asked me for a date. And Mrs. Taylor, she sure seems to use a lot of ice whenever he's away. And Mr. Baker be told to keep her window shades all pulled completely down. Now Mr. Harper couldn't be here 'cause he stayed too long at Kelly's bar again. And if you smell Shirley Thompson's breath, you'll find she had a little nip of gin. Then you have the nerve to tell me as a mother that you think I'm not fit. Well, this is just a little Peyton place and you're all Harper Valley hypocrites. Now I wouldn't put you on because it really did happen just this way. The day my mama socked it to the Harper Valley PTA. The day my mama socked it to the Harper Valley PTA. Just in time, I'm getting a phone call. I hope that this tutorial and play along has brought you joy and confidence in your ukulele journey. I would like to thank all my patrons for their great feedback, song suggestions, community building, and your very important financial support for my teaching efforts. If you appreciate what I do and have a few dollars a month to spare, I encourage you to join our growing Patreon community. Don't forget to hit that like button before you go and keep spreading the ukulele love.